Hi, I'm Rosh from Energy Matters. Welcome to our podcast, Road to Zero, where we dive headfirst into all things renewable. Join us as we chat with industry experts, tech specialists, and some of your favorite TV and radio personalities asking the renewable energy questions that you want answers to. Our goal, a zero carbon future. In today's episode, we're delighted to be catching up with Jason Venning, Country Manager of Fimer Australia. Jason, how are you this morning?
Good, thank you, Rosh. Yep, nice to be with you. Going well.
Likewise. And the first, I just want to say thank you very much for your time this morning. I know things are incredibly hectic leading up to Christmas, firstly, but secondly, there is a lot going on in the industry at this particular time, which we'll cover off in a few minutes. Okay, but before we do, Jason, just tell me very quickly a bit of background about Fimer and their history in Australia.
No problem at all. So Fimer is an Italian company, a family-owned company. So the company itself has been around for nearly 80 years. And
Wow.
In March 2020 was when they first came to Australia with the purchase of the ABB solar business. And since then, the last 18 months or so, Fimer's been establishing its own footprint in Australia.
That's absolutely fantastic. I mean, as soon as I first heard that Fimer was an Italian company, what came straight to mind was, the Ferraris of inverters. So I'm hoping your team design a red Fimer.
Well, actually, yes, we've certainly got something coming out next year that'll be available in red. So yeah, we can definitely fulfill that request.
Mate, fantastic. I love it. And Jason, when did you actually join Fimer yourself?
Well, I, like a lot of the team, we came across as part of the sale of the business. So you could say we were sold by ABB to Fimer. So I was with ABB previously, running the solar business, and then I came across as part of the acquisition.
Oh, mate, that's so simple. So a very easy transition, and obviously perfect for Fimer as well. So they retain the intelligence and the IP as well.
That's right, exactly. So they took over all the facilities, the people, the IP. So yes, they had a business ready to go.
Oh, it doesn't get any better than that. And Jason, I mean, obviously there's a number of different competitors in the industry, but what three things would you say differentiate you from your competitors?
Sure. So I mean, a couple off the top of my head. So we focus very much on the made in Italy because we are one of the last two at last count inverter manufacturers brands that are still manufacturing in Europe. So we're proudly manufactured in Italy. And with that goes our need to comply with some of the strictest material sourcing and privacy regulations in the world. So when people buy a Fimer product, they can be assured that the products themselves are ethically sourced and manufactured and that their data will be protected.
Which is absolutely fantastic. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, just moving on to the second thing, we also like to promote our warranty. So when we offer a 10-year warranty, we say full replacement warranty. So other competitors say 10 years, but what they really mean is 5 years, first 5 years, they'll replace your inverter. Second 5 years, well, they'll only pay for the parts to repair your inverter. So you'll be potentially out of pocket with other manufacturers, whereas with Fimer, you'll have nothing to pay if an inverter fails in the warranty period. And last but not least, we are coming out with brand new products as Fimer, which will have the latest technology with a bit of that Italian design flair. So we certainly will be offering something unique in the market that will make us stand out from others.
See, when I was being a bit cheeky earlier and asking you to develop a Formula One style inverter, I was actually joking. So I'm actually thrilled that I've preempted your marketing strategy.
That's right, exactly. It's all about style and flair and having some cool products, because people, particularly residential, they get very proud of the inverter and battery that's in their garage or on their wall, and it's a talking point, and they like to show it off to friends and family. So we're on board with that.
Absolutely. I mean, I still remember years and years and years ago when I first got into the industry. I got involved in solar back in 2009, and I just remember going to a customer's house to do an in-home presentation selling solar power, and they said, look, come around to my neighbour's house. They've got solar power equipment there, and we're having a barbecue. And just standing out in the garden, everyone was just admiring the inverter and pressing the buttons and having a look at what the production was. And they
Mm-hmm.
were. It was just like, and even to today, like, 11 years later, 12 years later, now you got batteries as well. Mm-hmm. So, and especially with your particular product, which we'll look at in a second, I mean, having that combination of the inverter, the hybrid inverter, as well as being able to add batteries and now EV chargers. I mean, your current product is incredible. I can't wait to see what's coming up next.
Yeah, it'll be fantastic.
Oh, mate, it will be. And look, just one thing I want to cover off with the three things that you highlighted. I know one thing that's really important to our customer base, consumers, when they come to Energy Matters and say, look, we want to go solar, but we really want to work with, credible organizations and manufacturers who can manage, who can look after us if there is a problem. And the fact that you actually not only manufacture in Italy, but you also have an Australian presence. I mean, that's very, very powerful. I mean, whereabouts are you located Australia-wide? Is it Melbourne specifically that your head office?
So we certainly service all of Australia. Our head office, let's say, is in Melbourne. In Sydney, we have our warehouse, repair centre and warranty and tech support team. And I also have people working remotely in Brisbane. So we're spread around the East Coast. We service the whole country. But yes, as you alluded to earlier, we have very good local support for customers. Which
is absolutely brilliant. Jason, one thing I did, and look, we highlighted it earlier, and it's really pivotal in the industry right now because it's causing a lot of stress, especially given everything we've gone through with COVID. We've been hit with all this, this compliance issue. Now, if you can touch on that quickly, I mean, I believe it's all around DC inverter compliance. What's happening with that?
So, I mean, all manufacturers are in the same boat. So we're all working diligently towards achieving accreditation to the new AS4777.2 2020 standard, and that was fine. But then in November, the Queensland Electricity Safety Regulator threw a massive spanner in the works by suddenly saying, oh, by the way, in order to be compliant, you also need to make sure that inverters with internal DC isolators are tested to the Australian version of the 60947-3 standard. And so the kicker there was that there's actually no labs anywhere in the world currently certified to test to that particular standard. So it was quite a ridiculous scenario. So it's just thrown the whole industry into a massive panic, and you probably would have seen a lot of press releases, stuff from the Smart Energy Council and Clean Energy Council. We've been writing to energy ministers. We've been trying to get some sanity in this process. So it really just derailed everything, and at the worst possible time of the year. So it was just quite crazy and unnecessary thing to do at the last minute, and could have been handled so much better.
Oh my God! I mean, absolutely, and I've just seen the impact on multiple levels. I mean, from a manufacturer's perspective, like yourself, I mean, just having finally managed to get everything in place, ready for the change certification in mid-December. I think it is December 18th. To now having this thrown out of nowhere, and then from a retailer's point of view, with all the majority of retailers have been in lockdown of some sorts and restricted by what they can actually do for the best part of this year, to finally have a couple of months where they can catch up and get consumers installed with solar power, to now be asking, having to ask the question, am I actually, legally allowed to install this inverter? And what's the impact of doing so? And can I get hold of it? It's been an absolute, look, it has been a joke, to be fair. And it's been incredible to see how the industry has rallied together, especially over the past few days. You guys have been pioneers of that. I've certainly seen the communication coming from yourself and your team to rally the troops and get behind it. And the industry has obviously, done the same thing, so which has been good.
Absolutely. So, I mean, the good news is so far Victoria's come to the party with the ESV saying they'll have a 6-month grace period to the end of June 2022.
Fantastic.
To give time for a lab to be certified somewhere to do this test, and then for obviously inverter manufacturers to do the test. So we're hoping that with a bit more industry pressure and peer pressure, that the other states will quickly fall in line, and we can have all have a Merry Christmas.
Absolutely. Well, we are certainly looking forward to that, and I think we all deserve that as well. So that's definitely, well, fingers crossed. Now, I want to quickly take you to your recent foray on television, Jason, where you You're alongside Energy Matters as one of our awesome partners. Appeared on an episode of Renovate or Rebuild, a hit TV show on Channel 9 Live for anyone who hasn't seen it yet. I'm going to quickly play the clip, then I'm going to ask you some questions.
Fantastic.
You were telling me, Jason, that the Fimer product, using the inverter connected to the battery, it keeps the... Explain it to me again.
Well, basically the way it works is the inverter is not only converting the solar energy into electricity for your home, but it's also used to charge the batteries. So it's what we call a hybrid inverter in this case. And so it does the solar and the battery charging in the one box. And very simple system. It's a plug and play system. You can add batteries at any time, depending on your energy needs. And the other smart thing is, with the electric vehicle chargers that we manufacture, they can talk to the solar and battery system, and between them they can work out the best time to charge the vehicle based on the amount of solar you're generating or the amount of charge in the battery. So it's a really intelligent system that allows you to maximise the amount of renewable energy you use, for example, in your home or charging your car.
Did you enjoy your little foray on television?
It was fantastic. These things happen in life. You think things are never going to happen, and then suddenly they do. Yeah. So here I am talking to ex-block contestants in the backyard of my house about my solar and battery system. So yeah, it was good fun. And yes, the running joke in the company at the moment is I'm the official influencer for Fimer Australia. So I'm just out there to maximise the profile of the business, and I'm happy to do that.
Oh, look, good man. And look, I absolutely 100% agree with you. I think, you have to be flying the flag for your industry and for your brand at all times. And look, it's not easy. I mean, like a lot of people would see, jumping behind camera and being absolutely terrified. And in some cases, it is obviously a little bit nerve-wracking. I know I certainly, never assumed ever that I'd be doing anything like that. But once you do and you get quite comfortable, it's okay. And the great thing is, especially with the cast and crew of Renovate or Rebuild, I mean, such an amazing team.
It was very professional and a really good experience. It was great meeting other people like James Treble and other people behind the scenes that you've only ever seen on TV. So I really enjoyed the experience.
Oh, fantastic. What's your biggest takeaway from the show? If you were just to pick one thing, what would you say is your biggest takeaway from it?
Well, I think the need to really think about sustainability when you're building or renovating a home, because obviously people think about the dollars and the cents and the time it's going to take and that sort of thing. But more and more, we should think of sustainability as one of the things that we have on our checklist.
Yes.
So for me, I mean, I've thought about it on and off in the past, but I mean, that series has really highlighted, all the great things you can do to really create a sustainable home. Even if it's an original home and you're doing a renovation, you can do a lot of good things. So that was my major takeaway.
No, absolutely. I mean, it was an absolute eye-opener. And to be fair, I mean, I haven't yet got to the stage where we've renovated or built a house of our own. We're doing that next year, hopefully all going well. And really, I look at Renovate or Rebuild almost like a checklist. It's almost like a manual of things to do and things to look for when you are going through that process. Because I had absolutely no idea the level of technology that we had available to us outside of renewable energy to improve the energy rating. And from the windows and the cladding and the insulation, I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yep, that's right. And I mean, I'd love to be able to, do that visualization of the next building project the way they did on the show. That was pretty cool.
Oh, it's absolutely incredible. Wearing those goggles and just walking through your build in life size. I mean, that's pretty awesome. Jason, one quick thing I want to ask you as well, just regarding technology. I mean, there has been some, from a consumer's perspective, they've noticed a price increase on technology, and obviously the industry was tracking quite well. Things were getting more and more affordable, and it still is very affordable. But at the same token, more recently in the last 2 or 3 months, it's kind of the curve's gone up a little bit. Now, there's a couple of major reasons I'm aware of. Inside of logistics and transportation. getting a container these days is hard, but also just the cost with COVID and COVID protocol has made things a bit harder, but also a sort of lack of parts in certain countries and where the manufacturing takes place. I mean, have you guys been impacted by anything like that?
Yes, unfortunately we have. I mean, one of the main issues is competition for raw materials, because there's a lot of companies out there who want these semiconductors and who want all these raw materials, and at least temporarily they've been in short demand, or sorry, short supply, high demand.
Yeah.
And so the deeper the pockets you've got, the further you can move yourself up in the queue. So unfortunately, sometimes we found ourselves, falling down the queue, and we've had to wait longer for our components, and therefore that's held up our production and made it a bit more challenging to get the stock that we would like to have, particularly here in Australia, since we're so far away from Europe. And then you add on the transport and logistics problems, and they've added cost and time. And we can't even rely on ships turning up. I mean, they can be delayed by weeks once they've leapt to the factory, and you never really get an explanation why. So we can only hope that it stabilises in 2022 and starts getting better. So raw material prices hopefully should start to come down.
Good.
There's more chip manufacturers coming online in the US, an example. So hopefully there should be more supply of these components. And we get back to a bit more of a normal process.
No, absolutely. Well, looks 2022 hopefully looks like it's going to be a massive year, a bumpy year for the industry. And the great thing is awareness has never been greater. There's a lot of exciting things happening, especially at a corporate level. I mean, state government and corporate, I've always been very impressed with. I mean, it's just, it's federal obviously gets a little bit frustrating at times, but there's a lot of, there's a lot of good stuff happening around the country, especially being driven by manufacturers like yourself, which is awesome. Jason, as you know, like Energy Matters, I mean, we're pioneers, or we're not, well, say pioneers loosely, but we're advocates for a zero carbon future. I mean, we do what we can, and hence this podcast really is about understanding how we can together can achieve a zero carbon future. I mean, what would you say on a personal level are small changes people can make to move us towards zero carbon?
Well, I mean, forgetting about putting on solar and batteries and all that kind of stuff. I mean, not everyone can afford that, which is fair enough. So I think people can just think more about when they're using energy and how much energy they're using. Do they really need to run that air conditioner all night? Do they really need to have the temperature at 20 degrees as opposed to 22, 23 degrees? When they're driving around in their car, I mean, do they really need to make that trip in the car? Can they take public transport? Can they use some other way to get around that is using less energy? I think with this new hybrid working model that we're seeing as a result of COVID, that can also help. I mean, do you really need to do the daily commute into the office every day? Can you, save time and energy by not driving your car in to the office every day? So, I mean, there are these little things that people can do before you even get to thinking about investing in things like solar and battery. But obviously, that's the next step that really starts to have a big impact on how much energy that you use from fossil fuel generation sources, for example.
Yeah, no, absolutely, mate. That's fantastic, and it's amazing. I mean, like us even having chats. I was in Sydney filming for Open Homes Australia yesterday, and even there, I was just chatting to somebody at the airport, and they're like, "Oh, look, there's, I can't fit solar power at my home. I mean, there's not much I can do." I was like, "You'd be surprised. Just a couple of little changes, a few little things. If everybody was to implement across the entire planet, we would make a significant difference, like significant. And that's all it's going to take, really. It's everybody just taking on board one or two things, doing the best they can do, and then just adding to that and adding to it. And before you know it, we're out of the woods.
Yeah, that's right.
From a sustainability perspective, Jason, what else are FEMA doing? I mean, obviously, yes, you manufacture amazing technology, and we've obviously played that video. There's some great stuff coming next year. But what are the sustainability strategies have FEMA got in place?
Well, I mean, we try and do some extra things. For example, in our electric vehicle chargers for the home, the AC wall box, the casing of the product is made entirely of 100% recycled plastic.
Awesome.
Also on our new inverter range coming out next year for residential purposes, The plastic parts on the inverter are again made of 100% recycled plastic. And also for our new range next year, every unit sold around the world, we will ensure that one tree gets planted for every inverter or battery that we sell next year from our new power range. So again,
that's awesome.
Relatively small things, but they do add up. And we're trying to reduce, our impact on the environment as well when we are manufacturing our products.
No, that's very inspiring, Jason. Look, absolutely brilliant. And look, as I've always said to you, Fimer is one of those brands that since we first met and since our organisations first crossed paths, we're so inspired by you guys as a manufacturer and in terms of and as also as pioneers for this industry. The technology, the styling, the quality of product. It's phenomenal, and it's giving consumers the choice they've been, really craving for such a long period of time. So good on you, mate. I'm just hoping that this whole issue sort of blows over and we can get it resolved. And then 2022 is a very, very successful for yourself and for the organisation and for the industry on the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's great to work with partners like yourself at Energy Matters. And certainly for Fimer, I'm excited that we'll be releasing more new products next year. And sort of from, say, 12 months from now, we would have basically refreshed almost our entire string inverter portfolio with new designs and technology. So we really think they're going to make a big impact on the market, and our customers are certainly getting excited already, and we can't wait for them to be available next year.
No, that's very exciting. Well, watch this space, Australia, and we can't wait to see what's in store for 2022. Jason, you take care. Have a very safe and merry festive period.
Thank you. You too. Great to talk. And yes, look forward to catching up in the new year.
Thank you very much. So, guys, before we finish up, just my regular Energy Matters spruik. Remember that you can get up to 3 free solar and quotes via our website and a free energy bill comparison at energymatters.com.au. Make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, and please follow us on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn pages. Thank you all very much, and I hope you enjoyed today's podcast.